Oh, hi, everybody. My name is Matt Storrs, and welcome to Mattsplaining. On today's episode, we have a first for the podcast. We have two experts on to talk about their area of expertise. Experts, please introduce yourselves and tell us what you're an expert at.
Sure. Hi, I'm Ellie Dvorkin Dunn. I am the co-producer and co-host of a podcast called Circling the Drain, which is a perimenopausal podcast about the period before you stop getting your period. I'm 46 years old, so I'm right in the sweet spot of being perimenopausal. And I wasn't an expert in this until I started doing the podcast. But now, after interviewing lots of doctors and other experts, I feel like I'm an expert by proxy.
Excellent.
Agreed. I think you are, Ellie. I'm Julia Granacki. I'm 47. I am also the co-producer of Circling the Drain podcast. I am also a health and wellness coach. I specialize in female hormone health. So I feel like Ellie said all the things, and
we should
Well, I
also
have to-
say that we've known each other since we were 17 and 18. We were
Yes.
theater majors together at the University of Central Florida and have been friends for many, many years and started commiserating about our symptoms, which is what prompted us to start the podcast about perimenopause once we realized we were in it. So we have a long history together.
That's true.
Excellent. My understanding of perimenopause is that it typically starts between the ages of 40, 45, in those beginning stages of the 40s. And there's a lot of symptoms, to your point, that happen. So, for instance, hot flashes, night sweats, a lot of increased sweating. A lot of people don't know this, but the aluminum-based antiperspirant was originally designed, all the deodorant commercials, strong enough for a man but built for a woman. It's the opposite way. It was actually like, these people are going through the perimenopause and they need the stronger antiperspirant, they need the stronger anti-sweat capabilities, and but marketing, how they have to do that. And I think that one of the things a lot of people focus on is the negative symptoms, but there are a lot of positive symptoms. Like it locks in and intensifies muscle memory for a lot of people, i.e. the mom strength, if you think of that. But you can kind of, instead of like a child being in danger and then that strength kicking in, you can just tap into it at any time and you don't need that familial connection. You can just tap in and go. And so that a lot of vitamins and supplements can help relieve some of the negative symptoms, but also intensify the positive symptoms. Some of the positive symptoms, obviously, increased strength, resilience, both emotional and physical, constitution, and endurance. A lot of endurance athletes find that they hit their stride, so to speak, not pun intended or anything like that, within their 40s, partially because they're able to tap into that. I don't want to say superpower because I don't know if that is technically accurate, but that increased resilience, that increased endurance, and be like, oh, I can use this muscle memory that I've grown with and developed over the years for a physical demonstration of how great I have become. And another scientific finding that has been found with it is one of the symptoms that some people talk about and some people are concerned with is urinary frequency. And it was actually through studying people that were going through perimenopause that we found the link between carbonation, excess carbonation, like the soda streams and everything like that, and urinary frequency. People think like, oh, it's just the body's changing. It's actually like if you do over-carbonate your soda, it can make it so that you need to urinate more often. A lot of people don't know that, but that is a big concern for a lot of people these days. And as the prevalence of home soda streams, we don't have that standardized carbonation of the soft drinks that you're getting. You're effectively drinking like 3 sodas worth of carbonation in one, and that's just doing I wouldn't say irreparable damage to your body, but it's disrupting the dynamics within there. And I think that basically, what perimenopause has done for society is, and the recognition of it, is that it's actually pushed science forward in so many different ways. Basically, the understanding of the human body, the understanding of what carbonation can do to the human body, and what amount of resilience the human physiology has and how effectively we can adapt as time goes on. And I think that that's something that's really beautiful and really amazing. About how much of that would you say was accurate?
What do you think, Julia?
Like 2%?
Oh my gosh, I'd give him a way higher percentage.
Really?
Yes. I would say,
All right. But okay, like, listen, I mean, we'll get into it, but 5% maybe.
I was going to give him like 40.
That's fascinating, Ellie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you saying that you do not have superpowers at this time?
I see that might be where Julia and I, maybe that's the part we're agreeing on. No, it wasn't.
No,
I mean, the carbon, I think you're focusing on the carbonation.
I'm not.
No. Okay.
Some of that is because actually some of that is true. I mean, should I dig in?
Go ahead. I think we should start by defining perimenopause because
That probably would be helpful.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Shall I define it?
You shall.
Okay, great. So perimenopause means, for those who don't know, it literally means around menopause. And a lot of people out there are familiar with the word menopause, and they think of this whole long period in life where you're experiencing some of these symptoms that you did mention, like hot flashes and urinary frequency and night sweat. Menopause actually is defined by not having gotten your period for an entire year. So menopause is really one day.
Literally one day. It's a
Right.
retrospective diagnosis where you haven't had your
Exactly.
period for 365 days.
That's right. And perimenopause, meaning around menopause, can last from 4 months to 14 years.
Wow.
And a slew of symptoms far beyond what you mentioned. Some people say it's 34, but it's actually really more than that. All different kinds of things a woman can be experiencing as her hormones shift during this period leading up to the time where she stops getting her period. So that's what perimenopause is. I mean, I think the age range you gave was 45. That is very typical, but it can start as early as someone's mid to late 30s.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So I would interject. I
please,
would say that
please.
45 is not typical. 40 is typical. And late 30s is more typical.
Right.
45,
You're right.
if you're not already in perimenopause by 45, you're special.
Right. Totally. Yes.
Totally
It's
special.
right. In fact, 45 can be an age where people actually achieve menopause. That's right.
Correct.
That's right. Some of the crazier symptoms that people don't realize can be related to perimenopause are things like itchiness, changes in taste. That's a weird one that you wouldn't think. Like I think tinnitus, which is a ringing in your ears. Like people typically think about hot flashes, vaginal dryness. I hope you're still with us, Matt. Are we allowed to say vaginal dry? Okay, great.
That's a natural human condition. No one should be uncomfortable with it.
They shouldn't. Urinary frequency for sure is a common one, but and you mentioned the whole deodorant thing. Body odor is actually a symptom of perimenopause.
Yeah, I'm going through it. I'm going through it right now.
Yeah,
right? As I sit here, I smell.
I don't disagree with his sort of statement that pH balanced for a woman was marketing that was targeted towards people who are possibly experiencing hormonal changes and increased body odor. That may well have been.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Julia, what else do you want to say about sort of what's going on with someone's hormones when they...
Well, I mean, I think it's funny that you did mention the deodorant because that's something that has been, well, I'd say for both of us, Ellie, right? Like Ellie and I are constantly like buying, like I have a whole Dwayne Reed in my bathroom in terms of like the amount of different deodorants I'm always trying because I'm trying like the real ones with the antiperspirant and then I try the natural ones and I go back and forth. And it's like, as soon as you find one that seems to be working for you, the efficacy just stops. It stops. So then you're like on to the next one. So I have just accepted that like I'm a stinky pits kind of gal. Like that's where I'm at. And my husband lets me know. He lets me know, which is really helpful. So I know when to like wash my coats and wash my pits.
It's really kind of him.
It is very kind of him. But yeah, I mean, to your point too about like it's funny you mentioned the carbonated water. So this is actually a thing. So carbonated water, not that this is directly related to perimenopause, but because you brought it up, I just want to talk about it a little bit.
Absolutely.
It will irritate the lining of the bladder. So it has been linked to UTIs. Urinary tract infections, among other things. It's actually not that great for your bladder.
But this could be true, right, Julia, of regardless of what gender or stage in life you are.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, this is just general knowledge for like people drinking a lot of seltzer water. Who doesn't love a bubbly water? I mean, I do, but like I have a soda stream and I had to cut back on my soda stream consumption because I was like, something's going on with my bladder. And sure enough, I was correct. But I would say also this whole thing about superpowers, I would say the major superpower that one gains when they hit perimenopause is the ability to give 0 fucks.
Okay.
That's right.
That's the number one superpower, wouldn't you say, Ellie?
Agreed. Like once you reach a certain age, at least this is true for Julia and I, we never try to speak for all women or all women of our age or all people. But yeah, we have spoken to a lot of guests and experts who, once they reach a certain age, they have far fewer fucks to give. And that in itself is a superpower, because once you stop caring what other people think about what you look like, how you respond to a certain situation, whether or not you go to their party, you are happier. So that is, in fact, a superpower. I don't know about like lifting a car off of someone who's been run over. I don't know if perimenopause enables that sort of actual, more literal superpower, but there are superpowers that come with it. And especially if you do the things to take care of yourself, you can actually be living your best life in midlife. Agreed. I'm much healthier than I was when I was in my 20s and 30s because I'm concentrating on eating better, exercising, getting the right amount of sleep, lowering my alcohol consumption. And all of those things have made me feel much better in this time where all of these symptoms have been making me feel worse. So that's kind of a crazy pro.
No, it's true. And I would also add that you're talking about endurance and strength, which I think is funny. As women approach midlife, we get a lot of muscle weakness. This is mainly due to a drop in estrogen, testosterone, all your hormones are out of whack. And so this is a great time to start weightlifting. Although I would suggest starting to weightlift earlier in life to kind of prepare you for this stuff that's coming at you. But
yeah, you want to have that strong base to build from.
That's exactly right. And women are very predisposed to osteoporosis, again, because of our drop in estrogen. And to help avoid osteoporosis, or at least have less osteoporosis, you want to start weightlifting because it protects the bones. And also, the bones can become stronger that way. So all of these things are things that you should be doing as you approach midlife, or if you're already in midlife, it's never too late to start. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm much stronger than I was, I would say, like in my 20s. Like I can pick up things and lift things I wouldn't normally be picking up, like tons of grocery bags or like something. Like my husband will be like, oh, don't get that. And I'm like, I got it. I'm strong. I got it. And I pick it up.
But I think like our main
kind of a superpower.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But our main like message and mission, and the reason we have this podcast that is trying to spread the word about perimenopause, is because it's a thing that a lot of people, even really educated women, don't know about because no one's been talking about it. So all of a sudden in their mid to late 30s, maybe their anxiety is ramped up. Maybe they're depressed. Maybe they can't sleep well. Maybe they are they are experiencing these hot and cold flashes at night. Their boob is weirdly sore. Even like allergies getting worse, irritability, all kinds of things. Talk to your doctor. Tell them you're experiencing these things. Tell them you think you might be in perimenopause. And if your doctor dismisses you, your gynecologist or even your primary care physician,
which they probably will,
they probably will, find another one, because this is a very real thing. And the sort of overarching belief for many decades has been, you'll get through it. Women suffer in silence. Don't complain, don't explain. But this is a part of our lives. This is a long transition, and we deserve to be treated. Yeah, we deserve to feel better. And there is no like one size fits all cure for this for everyone, but everyone should find a partner in their healthcare who helps them work through symptom by symptom and try different things. And you mentioned supplements that can be helpful, but there are also menopause hormone therapies.
Yeah, if I can speak to
please.
MHT. So MHT, menopause hormone therapy, it's not for everyone, but
formerly known as HRT, hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement
therapy. So, it isn't for everyone, but it is for most people. It is safe for most people. And there was a study in 2002 that it basically was a lot of misinformation, and it's been debunked over and over again, but people are still not getting the message. And then there are also
it led to the belief that
it was going to give you
therapy,
cancer,
right,
no matter what.
Right.
But there's also this belief that you don't start menopause hormone therapy until you're actually in menopause, meaning you have finished menstruation for your life, right? But that's not the case. It's actually been published in the North American Menopause Society's latest repositioning statement that it's good to start it within 10 years of menopause. So I'm 47 and I take MHT. So you want to start it within 10 years of when you think menopause is actually going to happen to you. And a good place to start with that is to ask your mother if she's still with us. Ask her when she went through it, because that's very likely when you are going to go through it. And when it comes to supplements, there are a few good ones that work, but any company out there that is marketing to you and telling you that they've got one pill that's going to solve all your problems, please don't waste your money.
It's snake oil.
It's snake oil. Don't waste your money. Also, any kind of like natural progesterone or estrogen that's over the counter, also bullshit. Don't waste your money. You need a prescription for that. You're not going to get it over the counter. And there are just so many supplement companies that it's like an all-in-one. Like, what's a good example, Ellie? I mean, like there'll be one that'll be like, this fixes like hot flashes and night sweats and sleep deprivation. And that's just not possible. First of all, you can't have one like catch-all for everything. Secondly, if there's anything in that vitamin or that supplement that's going to help you, there's not going to be enough of it in that one pill. So it's just never going to work. And also a lot of it's just garbage. So don't buy it. Don't take it. I would say supplements we've found that are helpful would be magnesium. That's a good one, Ellie, right? What else can you think of?
Gosh, I mean, a good multivitamin that's made by a company that's third-party tested. Right.
Mm-hmm. If you're buying cheap vitamins, they're probably not very good. Unfortunately, you have to spend money on to get a good vitamin.
Right.
And you want to make sure that they have third-party testing.
Right. So you can't necessarily get Flintstone vitamins and think it's going to be okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Something you're buying at the drugstore is probably not the kind of vitamin or supplement that you should be taking. Yeah,
absolutely. We're just about out of time. Ellie and Julia, this has been absolutely fascinating and insightful. If people wanted to learn more about this topic or wanted to learn more about each one of you, where would you recommend they go?
Well, our website is circlingthedrainpodcast.com, but you can find our podcast, Circling the Drain, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can follow us on Instagram is it Circling Drain Podcast? Julie, I can never keep track.
The best thing you should do is just go to the website and find our socials there, and then you can just click on them.
That's right.
We don't know what they are.
We'd love you to listen. And honestly, Matt, you're obviously not our target demographic for our podcast, but I would like to say that everyone, regardless of their gender or age, knows someone who is or will be going through this. So it's really valuable information. So recommend it to anybody for whom it might be helpful, because we get dry information. It's we laugh a lot on our podcast.
But we get feedback from a lot of men. It's pretty common, and some of my favorite feedback. But also, I think Ellie and I are going to be launching another Perimenopower Hour, which is an educational series that we do, and that'll probably be in the spring. And if you want to work with me, if you need some coaching and you want to know more, you can work with me and find me at juliagwellness.com. And my socials are there too. I don't know what they are.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, both of you. This has been absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you for being
Matt.
Open to talking about vagina things.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, there should be more open discussion. The people that are uncomfortable with it need to get over it.
Agreed.
Get comfy.
Exactly. My name is Matt Storrs, and this has been Mattsplaining.